Hello, 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 hello. Good morning, welcome, episode 7 of Wake Up Call with Anh Tay Nha. Today, what I want to talk about is doing your best. It seems like pretty straightforward, but if it were so straightforward, we wouldn't have so many challenges that we do when dealing with each other and working with our staff, our team members, things like that. So, I want to start by using a story of mine, like I always do. Yesterday morning, I woke up with a headache. I really did not feel well at all. And so I laid in bed way too long, and I made the hugest mistake that you can make first thing in the morning, which is getting on Facebook. Um, the reason being, and I'll have to make a note to talk about this in another video, is that what happens first thing in the morning is sort of your intention, your focus, it's all totally clear. You know, you haven't hooked your attention or your energy into anything in particular. And then the problem with getting on Facebook is that there tends to be quite a bit of drama, things that maybe are important, maybe not. But either way, it's too early in the day to get wrapped up in that stuff. And yesterday, what I found was a lot of drama about the manager of my building. And I have to say, this guy's so lucky that I'm a guest in this country because he is terrible. And the way that he speaks to my partner, ooh, girl, you better never let me catch you in the States. He's just very demeaning, and it is part of the culture here that if somebody's older, they really speak down to and chastise anybody younger than them, and then in the same step the younger person doesn't buck up and doesn't come back at them and shut them down, like we do where I'm from. Even you respect your elders, and I think it's really important. I think it's a beautiful thing. However, allowing them to abuse you and speak to you in not only an unprofessional but a disrespectful way, this stuff doesn't fly with me. I really don't care how old you are, where you come from. I'm not going to allow that. And so this person knows, don't talk to me like that. Plus, I'm older. But especially when it's your customer, to speak down to someone, to degrade them, like, ugh, girl, I don't like it. Anyway, so it seems that throughout the whole day yesterday, what happens in the dark is coming into the light like never before. And though, even when someone deserves it, I don't believe in celebrating someone's misery or taking joy in their downfall, because trust me, I've been there. Um, and I don't think it was a karma thing, it's just a life lesson thing, where in this case it does seem like karma. But that again is another thing I don't believe in doing, is calling something, oh, that's your karma. You don't know if it's karma. You don't know why this is happening, but everything that's happening is to help somebody grow and change. And in order for them to grow and change, they might have to lose everything that they've worked for. Really don't know. But because of my experiences with this person, I was a bit glad that things were starting to come into the light. I'm always glad when that happens, because it goes with that principle. What happens in the dark comes into the light, where you don't have to feel like you always need to get revenge, or you have to get back at somebody that hurts or violates you. It gives you great peace when the darkness is exposed, and that you didn't have to use your energy to bring someone down. However, I got too wrapped up in the situation, because in the past it affected me personally. Now where I live, I try to communicate with my neighbors, help them out. We have a little chat group in case somebody has a package delivered, nobody's home, that we can just chat the group and say, is anybody around to accept this? Those small things make a big difference in the community, and so it's connected me to the people around me. But what it did was it hooked my attention for the whole day, which I said I already had a headache. I didn't feel well, but it hooked my attention into this low vibration energy cycle of, what did this person say? And what did this person say? And, honestly, I couldn't believe all the stories that came out by the end of the day. And it gave me, on one side, I need to document, protect myself, but on the other side, I didn't have much energy. And then when I hooked it into this type of situation, it meant that I wasn't productive at all for the day. The reason I bring up this story is because it goes along with doing your best. Your best will change every single day. It is not the same every day because some days you slept like an angel and you had dreams of sugar plums and butterflies, and some days you were maybe up all night with your child. So if you have been awake all night, you don't feel so happy and joyful in the morning. You go to work and you have to do something, but you're sort of just on survival mode. And that's okay. For me, I try to be positive and kind to people, any opportunity that I have. And some days I don't feel like it, but then I can be really hard on myself for not feeling like it. And I have to remember to give myself grace and forgiveness and understanding because no one else is going to do it, right? And no one else understands my perspective. So even if they do that for me, it doesn't matter. I need to give myself grace and myself forgiveness. But doing your best means having the highest level of integrity that you can imagine. And again, some days you feel great, some days you don't feel great. But the point is that even in your tired state, that you still do the best you can for others, for your family, at your job, whatever it is, that you don't just say, oh, I'm cranky today, or I'm tired today, or it's Friday, I don't have to do my best. You really should. And if you give yourself grace to know that, okay, today I have a headache, so I'm going to be less productive. Are there other things that I can focus on that I will feel good about, that I did achieve, rather than not doing anything at all? When you do your best, if somebody is unhappy with that, you don't feel offended. You don't react when somebody criticizes you in those moments because you know what, that day I knew I didn't feel good and I did my best. So I'm not going to apologize for that. I think we apologize way too much, and so it really loses its meaning when I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry about everything. I don't apologize for many things. I may explain my perspective, but unless I have actually hurt someone, and I have taken an action against them to bring them down or hurt them, I'm probably not going to apologize. And that's just how I am. That way, people in my life, when I do apologize, they know that I really mean it, that it's very genuine. You're free to have your own perspective and believe what you believe. And you don't always have to apologize for everything, especially when you don't mean it. Reserve those words for when they actually matter, for when you're really sorry that you said something, or you said something you don't believe or that you regret, rather than apologizing, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, all the time over stuff that doesn't matter. When you do your best, you don't have to go to bed at night with regret. You don't have to come home to your partner and say, I feel like an ass because I was hurtful to someone today and I shouldn't have done that. When you focus on doing your best, you're not going to overreact. You're not going to take actions that go against your own integrity because that's not the best me. Again, if you don't feel well, your best isn't the same as before. And if you're going into a situation where others depend on you, My advice is to tell them, hey, everybody, I didn't sleep well last night. I'm exhausted. So please, if I offend you, don't take it personal. And by all means, stay out of my way. This way, everybody around you is aware. Oh, they're in a different state today. I'm not going to tease them or bug them like I normally would, and they laugh because I know that they are easily irritable. When you have that high level of integrity, people learn how to treat you with more respect. They learn how to communicate with you better, and they know that they can rely on you. And then when you do make a mistake, instead of coming at you with this sort of attacking mentality or anger, they're going to come at you with this idea of, maybe Matthew is having a bad day. Maybe he was sad that day. Maybe he needs me just to reach out and ask if he needs some support versus me being critical of these actions he took or this quality of work that he produced. I think that where I live now, this one thing would really benefit all of us really well, because a lot of people, they're not thinking about their actions. They're not thinking how it affects others. They're not thinking about, what's the best. I talked about it in a previous video because of the box and bag people that I've been working with, and that there's no way that they've done their best for me. There's no way. And I've told them a couple of times, the next mock-up you send me should represent the best quality that your company can offer. I'm doing that because if the quality is not acceptable, I know I need to cancel this contract and stop spinning my wheels in the mud asking somebody just to do it correctly. If you don't know how to do it correctly, that is a totally different thing, because your best doesn't equal correct, right? You don't know how to do that yet. That is acceptable. And if you're always doing your best, when you don't do it to the high level, your family, your friend, your manager is going to know this person needs training to get to this level because this is the best they can do. I know that because they always do their best. I'm going to start making some videos about business and things here in Vietnam. I really want to have a good influence on the place where I live and on all of you as a whole. So maybe some of the stuff that I talk about will relate to many places around the world. But for now, my observations, my information is based on how I live day to day. And for me, how I live is I'm always doing my best. Even if somebody hurts me, I'm still going to do my best. And maybe I'm mad, so my best instantly has changed, right? But in that case, my best is to keep myself calm and either not respond at all or to formulate, to create a response that is not overly emotional but can contribute to the situation. My intention when interacting with people is always to improve the communication, to improve the situation, to make it better and better and better. Doing your best doesn't mean you have to do the most all the time. It doesn't mean you always have to forgive everyone and you always have to give more than you get. This is something that I'm struggling with now to find the balance. Because for me, if you know better, you have to do better. If you're aware and enlightened and open perspective, you bear the burden. You carry the responsibility to always execute those skills in the best way you know how. But for me, it has left me in a situation a lot of times where my output of energy in dealing with somebody or their mistake or their offense on me has left me totally drained and exhausted. So I still have to learn how to balance that and how to, again, give myself grace and understanding of you don't have to sit here and explain everything to this person. You don't have the responsibility to teach them everything in this moment. And walking away, abandoning someone may be the best lesson that you can teach them. So I encourage all of you in every action you do. Maybe your mom asks you to wash the dishes. Okay? So you wash the dishes. Are you making sure that everything is clean, or are you just trying to get it done? Right? If you're just trying to get it done, that's not really your best. And you may have to go back and do it again. So you've wasted your time once by not doing it correctly. Then you have frustrated your mother by her seeing it wasn't done correctly and her asking you to do it again. And then you have to go repeat that cycle, and then she has to check again. So there are 3 situations out of those 4 where the energy was a total loss because of your lack of integrity and because you didn't do your best. If you don't know how to do something, ask someone, how can I do this better? That's another thing I observe a lot here, and I have in my business life around the whole world. That the boss, the CEO, has never done the job that you're doing. They have no idea what it entails. They have no idea what it takes to get that job done. So the demands that they place on you are unreasonable and they're unfounded. And then they react because it doesn't meet their expectation, but their expectation was never real to begin with. So you have to, as I was talking about previously, communicate and raise your voice. I don't know how to do this, or the way that you're asking me to do this doesn't seem possible. Do you have some tips? Can you give me some more information that will allow me to produce for you exactly what you're asking? Here, a lot of bosses just want to be the boss. They're not a leader, they're not a guide, they don't feel a responsibility toward their staff to train and develop them for their future. And as somebody who's worked in retail a very long time, it's one of the sort of principles that a manager operates by, that we are setting people up for their future success. Whether they're in high school and they need to learn success for college, how to be on time, things like that. These little bits of integrity that we can teach our teams as leaders will really help them to grow their life in the future. The boss here, they just bark all these orders and they have no clue how to do it. And so the staff often produce a result that is extremely poor. And then the boss often will accept it because they don't know any better either. So part of this is like getting the right people in the right roles, and for yourself, finding a mentor, finding a leader in your life, somebody who you admire and look up to because of the work that they do, because of the way that they deal with and speak to other people, because of the way they guide and invest themselves and their energy into helping people grow. My partner hired somebody as his assistant, and this person within the first few weeks of work was missing trainings, where you had to dial in and do this online training. And then of course a report comes back saying your staff member was late, your staff member didn't show up. And I had to tell my partner, this reflects on you and your integrity. This person is going to impede your success because they don't have any integrity. Even they went to school in the West and think they're so highly educated. But if they cannot come to a training on time, done. You're done. You don't want to work here, or you would be on time. You cannot use traffic as an excuse every day. You should leave earlier. But when you just have to dial into something from your home or your laptop, there's literally no excuse for this to be a consistent problem. And I think a lot of people aren't even aware of how vital it is to make an impression, and to, especially when you're working for a Western company, to step up and to always be on time, to always sort of go above and beyond so that you're next in line for a promotion, so that you're the next one considered because your managers are saying, man, this person is always on time. They're always, supporting their team. They're very thoughtful, they're very conscientious, and I really want to promote them. Your boss wants to promote someone that makes them look good. So if you always do your best, that includes communicating when you don't know any better. It includes being very harsh on people when it's necessary so that they don't continue to make that mistake in your company or when they move on and go to a different company in the future. What you allow will exist and pervade in your business or in your life. And you have to set the standard. If you're the boss or the leader, you can't ask people to do something you have no clue how to do. My best advice in that is to do it with them the first time. Show them, I know how to do this. Here's your example. And then if they didn't pay attention, you can deal with that later. One thing I'm going to make a separate video about is just excuses and lying. It pervades this culture and this society where I live now, that whatever excuse or lie is fed to someone, they just accept it. So when I had my first job here and they would give me an excuse or a lie and I would push back on them, they didn't know how to react. They couldn't believe that I just didn't accept what they were saying because I knew it was a lie. And even if it wasn't a lie, it shouldn't be happening. Especially when I went to the license holder and the founder of the company and reported what was happening, that my company was telling me, oh, the owner doesn't have money, so you can't be paid on time. And so I went to the owner and I said, apparently you don't have any money, and that's why I didn't get my paycheck on time. And so now I can't pay my rent, and that means that hurts my integrity. My bike owner, my landlord, they understood because they know where they live, right? They know this happens, but it shouldn't be happening because it was just a fact of not following through. The people that were supposed to process the payroll don't have any integrity, and they know that they can just give an excuse or a lie and everyone's going to say okay and accept it. No, I'm not the one, and I encourage you all to not be the one either. Don't just accept that. Push back and say, okay, what's done is done, but in the future, I'm not going to accept this. My contract says one thing, that's what I expect. Because why? Because everything that's my responsibility, I do perfectly. I do it above and beyond your expectation, and all I expect in return are these minimum things that we've agreed to. Doing your best changes every day. Give yourself grace when your best isn't the same as yesterday, but continue to push yourself every day in all interactions and in all activities to do a bit better, to improve what you're doing. So at the end of the day, anybody who comes at you and attacks you or is angry or is frustrated, you are not going to feel bad. If you've done your best that day, you will know, I did my best. And if you're angry about it or you're upset, that was the best that I could do at that moment. Maybe now you can do better and you can accept that and say, oh, let me work on that a bit more. I was having a bad day. It's not an excuse, it's an explanation. And you're just accepting your failure or your fault in that moment and moving on, rather than lying or giving all these excuses back to someone. Listen, nobody wants to hear that, especially your boss or your leader. They just want to hear you accept what you've done and to not repeat that mistake anymore. So I hope a little bit of this was helpful. I hope that you can use what I'm saying and just question yourself and contemplate things in your life. If you're a boss or a manager or a business owner, you really need to step up your game. You have the ultimate responsibility when it comes to society and culture around you. You have the ultimate responsibility when it comes to your staff and their future. And if you're not ready to be a leader in this way, you really should not be working with people. You should not be a business owner. You should not be a manager. You should not be a leader. You need to find an office and go into that office, work on a computer or something where you are not directly responsible for somebody's development, because we need good leaders in the world. We need people with the highest level of integrity who care the most about others to be our leaders, to be our developers, and to help us discover the keys that will unlock a brighter future. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful day. We just got 2 more weeks social distancing, so like Brittany, I'm only going to be dancing in my living room for a few more weeks, but I'm looking forward to producing some other kinds of videos, to getting outside a bit more and showing the wonderful place that I live, and also having videos that have more examples of the things that I'm talking about. I really want to start a business series of talks and video chats, and I need to be out in the world and showing examples of these things so that people can understand. They can see what I'm talking about, they can hear what I'm talking about, and hopefully we can create a dialogue together. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.